Welcome to MegaBucks Radio. Conversations with successful entrepreneurs, sharing their tips and strategies for success. Real-world ideas that can put MegaBucks in your bank account. Here's your host, Nina Hershberger.
Well, welcome to today's show. I am beyond thrilled to introduce you to an amazing marketer. My show is MegaBucks Marketing Radio, but this guy stands head and shoulders above a lot of people. He's calling all the way on the other side of the world. Dom, are you in Australia, right? Not New Zealand?
No, I'm in Sunderland. I'm in the UK.
Oh, you're in the UK. Oh, well, I should have asked you that before we even started. But I have heard so much about him. We have a mutual mentor of Dan Kennedy. And so Dom and I have learned all of these marketing things, and he has implemented it. He has the world's leading pet business coaching and marketing business. He's a strategist. He's going to tell a story of how he started in the pet business, his journey of having even a store and going through all sorts of things, and now coming out of it and having such a successful ability to work with lots and lots of people who have best pet businesses. So anyway, Dom, welcome to today's show.
Thank you, Nina. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here and speaking to a fellow marketing enthusiast like yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us, let's go back in time. How did you become the Pet Biz Wiz?
Okay, so way back in 2011, I was working as a sales rep for a tobacco company. And I didn't really want to do it for another 30 years, so I quit that job. And my only passions at the time were, I knew I wanted to work outdoors, and I had a more than a passing interest in dogs because we had recently adopted a dog. So that led me to starting the UK's first dog adventure business, Pack Leader Dog Adventures. And I wanted to do something different from the start. You know, I wanted to do, I didn't just want to take the dog for a walk around the block. I wanted to take him out and allow him to run and play and explore and sniff. And that's what I did. And so I set up this different kind of business. And it was pretty successful, really, from the start. It took me a little while to get going, as it does with a lot of new businesses. But because I was premium, I quickly sort of built a really solid base of clients who, they wanted something extra. They referred all of their affluent dog owning friends. And so I've within the space of about 18 months, I created a really profitable, fun, dream business, really. That was the start of my journey, my introduction into having my first pet business. Okay,
so adventure. You're in a dog adventure business, it was just simply allowing the dogs to kind of go out and do what they wanted to do. You didn't take overnight or do any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I did add that service in actually to our existing clients. We did overnights in our own home. Again, you know all about this, Nina, because we were super premium. When you have a premium business, you don't need to have hundreds and hundreds of clients to bring you like a really good living. You can give them the best service, and you can really enjoy your business whilst making money. So yeah, we did add on other things. I started to do talks and seminars as well. And then I kind of when my business was expanding, I took on some staff members, and I kind of wanted to take it the next step further. And this was where I had a real reality check, because I started an online store, an online dog adventure store, where we would sell treats and harnesses and clothes and all this kind of thing. And the reason why it was such a big reality check for me was because it was a complete and total load of disaster. The online store didn't work very well at all. The things that I had done in my bricks and mortar business didn't transfer very well to online. And that was what led me to really rethinking, okay, whatever I do next, I really need to learn how to market this business properly. And so this led me to learning about email marketing, direct response, and ultimately to the feet of, Dan Kennedy, who you mentioned previously. So that was like the real, even though that was the worst thing that ever happened to me in my business journey so far, it was also the best because it kind of taught me that, you need to up your game here when it comes to marketing.
Okay, I want to go back in time because you really started off talking you were a premium. Give me your definition of premium and why did you start out? Most people will think to themselves, okay, I just quit my job. I don't have any income coming in. I got a new dog. Okay, therefore I'm going to become a little dog walker, but I don't want to be just a dog walker. I want to have, and then I'm going to charge, lower prices because I need clients. That would be a very typical mental gymnastics. You didn't do that. So tell me why and how.
Okay, this is an interesting story. But like I said, I used to work for a tobacco company. So I used to be a sales rep in my local area, going around all of the different shops, putting cigarettes in, to hit my targets and stuff like that. And we had a number of different brands that we used to sell. And some were very, very expensive. Some were very, very cheap. And at the time, there was lots of tax increases happening in the UK. There was a big smuggling problem with counterfeit cigarettes. And so there was this kind of race to the bottom of the market. And we would bring out a cheap brand and our competitors would bring out a cheap brand. And I kind of, obviously less profitable brands all the time. But at the same time as that, there was a couple of brands that were premium that were still selling really, really well. Brands like Marlboro, say, really well-known that type brand. And so I kind of, without knowing really what premium pricing was at the time, I took those lessons from my old business and I always knew, from my old job, and I always knew that whatever business I was going to go into, I would always want to be at the top end of the market, because ultimately when it came to the cigarettes, it wasn't much different stuff in the cheap cigarettes as it was in the expensive ones. It was all in the packaging. It was all in the marketing, So that was like a really powerful lesson that I took from my old job that I implemented in the dog walking business, and straight away I just thought, no, I'm going to offer something different. I'm going to offer something better. I'm going to offer something more exclusive with more bells and whistles, and I'm going to charge top dollar for it. And yeah, thankfully it paid off.
So did you go and, how did you do your market research to even find out what people were charging?
Just looking around, really, Well, that's not true. I looked around at what people were charging locally, and I looked around at what people were charging elsewhere in the country, and I also looked across the pond to what people were doing in the States as well. Over there was a lot of dog running going on. People were doing dog running with the dog. So I kind of included that in one of my services as well. But yeah, it was, with hindsight, it was the right move. And this is something that I advise my clients on doing all of the time, is to go in high, be different, position yourself as an expert. And, the business tends to grow a little bit slower than it would if you went in just charging the same as everybody else or at rock bottom, but ultimately it grows a lot more profitably. And yeah, well, it's just a better business for so many reasons, isn't it? But yeah, that's why I looked around and saw what everybody was charging, but I still then even thought, you know what, I think I can offer something better. And I'm going to charge, ultimately it was twice as much as what everybody else was charging at the time.
Well, did you have to swallow really hard to say, I'm going to charge twice as much, or was it a natural because of your tobacco sales?
I think, yeah, I definitely had a bit of a confidence with the sales. When you're a professional salesman, you get used to a lot of no's. So yeah, I had built up quite a thick skin, but I'd also put a lot of work into how I packaged it up. Just packaged so everybody else was calling themselves dog walkers, but I was offering dog adventures, and I changed the times. Everybody else was doing like an hour, so I did an hour and a half, and I kind of changed it so the whole offering was like a little bit different, or very different to what everybody else was doing. And once I started to put some paper and ink marketing out there and get the word spread, I found the premium clients that I was looking for.
I'm just hearing you a little bits and stuff. It sounded like you actually put together different packages too. It wasn't here's what I offer, pick it. You made some sort of thing. So that's a very smart marketing kind of thing. Am I picking up on that right?
You really are, yeah. And like I said, with hindsight now, knowing everything that I learned 5 years into the job, I don't know if I did it kind of intuitively or just because of my experience with working in sales with a tobacco company. But yeah, I packaged it up differently. I presented it differently, and then ultimately it was received differently. And I did a lot of things right, kind of by mistake, I suppose, or, not really knowing what I was doing.
I should have started this whole thing out. Dom might be in the pet business. He's in the coaching business as well, but it doesn't matter who's listening to the show. I don't care if you're an auto repair guy. I don't care if you're a dentist. I don't care what business you're in. The things he's talking about applies to any business. Now, I've just started sketching on a piece of paper here. One thing that you talked about is you named it differently. So there was no apples to apples comparison. You were not a dog walker. You were an adventure. So it was totally, you couldn't go on Google and say, okay, how much is a dog walker? Wow, Dom's going to charge me $20. No, so you named it. You had to call, called things. You created different offers, different packages, you said. Mm-hmm. You also talked about packaging it, making the package. So are you talking even the visual somethings, your marketing materials? Different?
Yes, yeah. So very much so, yeah. So the actual visuals of the aesthetics were different. So I tried to make it more adventurous looking, I suppose, and tried to make it sound exciting, something that the dog would enjoy and the owner would appreciate. But I also packaged it up, presented it differently with regards to the marketing, because I used a lot of paper and ink, leaflets, postcards, newsletters. I did social media stuff too, but it wasn't as big then anyway. But yeah, it was very much a combination of, and I went out as well, Nina. I went out with my paper and ink, and I stood in pet shops and gave my leaflets out and talked to people and stroked their dogs and basically sold myself, And this is something that so many people, especially nowadays, we immediately gravitate to online, and we've got to be online. And yeah, it's part of the mix for sure, but nothing beats getting out there, putting yourself in an environment where you're going to come into contact with a bunch of people who could potentially be clients of yours, and talking to them and giving them something to take away and so they can think about it and get in touch. And yeah, that was really what I had kind of a slow couple of months, but once I started to get out there in my community and putting pieces of paper into people's hands, that was what really accelerated it for me.
So did you have any problems with those pet owner shops allowing you to talk to people at their shop?
No, it was like a mutual, agreement. I just went in and I made nice with them, and I asked permission, and sometimes it would take a couple of visits to go in, and I would have to buy a couple of things.
Okay.
I'm getting heckled here. I would have to buy a couple of things, to open a relationship. But again, this is something that I recommend to my coaching clients all the time. It's like, you get out there. It's just what Dan talks about. Other people's customers. If they're non-competing with you necessarily, people can still buy stuff from a pet shop, and they can still buy a dog walk. One isn't impinging on the other. So yeah, it took a bit of time to build up these relationships, but they can be really fruitful, with local vets, other non-competing pet businesses and stuff. Yeah, it's something I highly recommend people do.
Yeah, I mean, when you say local vets, it's almost like a JV, a joint venture.
Yeah,
yeah. You might recommend. Do you have you vetted people like vets and groomers and all of that, and provide any of that so as that joint venture, in other words, send them referrals?
Yeah, so we would do that as well. Yeah, I could take their cards and I could pass them out to my clients as well. Generally, I normally find I normally find all these relationships, they're worth exploring, because you'll probably find that whoever you're trying to do a joint venture with, they're probably struggling with something in their business as well. And if you go into it with an open mind of like, hey, you do this, I do this, how can we possibly do something together? Then usually you can find a bit of common ground. It doesn't always work out like that, but if you go in with an open mind where we're going to create a win-win situation, then, it's mutually beneficial, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. But you also then developed your business on your own terms. It's a lifestyle business. You said, I'm not going to work these hours. I'm going to do this and that. So you became the owner of your own lifestyle, I would say.
100%, yeah, I really did, and that was immensely satisfying when I was maybe 18 months, 2 years into the business, and it was really doing everything that I wanted it to do, and it was really fun, and but I think at the time I was kind of ambitious for more. I was thinking, okay, I've made a success of this. What else can I do? That led me to the online store, which didn't work out so well.
So you never had a brick and mortar store, or you did?
No, we never had a brick and mortar store. No, we had a brick and mortar dog adventure business, but that just consists of us owning a van anyway. Really, we don't really have a premises. And then, okay. I went straight to an online store model.
So you had to inventory product. You had to staff because they had to, ship and deliver or whatever it was you did. Yeah.
But again, that didn't work out too well. I think the big sort of, I could go on and talk about the store a lot, but ultimately I think what I did was I had understood. I didn't do a lot of the things that I did well in my first business with the store. I outsourced a lot of help. I invested a ton of money in website designers and Google pay-per-click experts and social media experts and SEO experts, and I kind of abdicated the responsibility of the marketing of the store to them, thinking that they would know what they were talking about, and then kind of 2 years down the line and however many tens of thousands of pounds that I'd wasted got me the realization, like, look, this is not working. And not only that, Nina, this was a difficult thing for me I didn't really enjoy that business either, so I didn't really enjoy getting stock, packaging it up, sending it out, people complaining about, this doesn't fit my dog, and then getting it back again. So that wasn't a fault. That wasn't really a fault of the business. It was a fault of me not thinking, that I would enjoy that type of thing, and I really didn't. So not only was it kind of expensive mistake, it really taught me about, okay, what do you like about running a business? What do you enjoy doing? What are your strengths? What are your skills? What do you hate?
Which is why makes you such a great coach now, because you have been through some of that kind of thing. So you thought, well, I made this pretty successful. I'm going to open an online store. No, that didn't work out. So you closed that down. But you probably still had this feeling of, okay, but I want to know what's next. How can I grow more? Is that when the coaching came in, or had you started coaching by that time?
No, I hadn't started coaching then. What happened then was I went on a real marketing journey, really, of, like I said, learning about direct response, about email marketing, about writing copy, about premium pricing and ascension and lead generation and all these things. And I plugged all of that into my dog adventure and then my training business. So I wrote my first book, which positioned me as an expert, and I created an online dog training academy. And that was at the time then when I started to get people saying to me, like, oh, how have you done that? How have you done this with your business? How have you done that? And which then kind of naturally led me onto teaching other people about all of the really great direct response marketing things that I've learned.
What was your introduction into direct response? How did somebody tell you about Dan, or somebody tell you about direct? How did that happen?
So it kind of happened, I think it started just with me listening to podcasts and buying a couple of books and reading a couple of blogs, and then sort of stumbled across a coach who helped me to create a online dog training program, and then led me to somebody else who helped me to write a book, and then, somebody helped me about emails, and there was a guy called John McCulloch who I plugged into Big Style, joined his mastermind, and John was a disciple of Dan's, and that was what kind of led me directly to Dan, and Dan's World, and then everybody in it, and and so that was it was kind of piecemeal how it happened, but as soon as I was introduced to it, I kind of, it's like seeing in Technicolor, isn't it, for the first time, you sort of see, oh my God, I've got so much to learn and I've got so much to do, but I can really see the possibilities here, of what was missing with the store, where I was just like flying blind and not really doing anything right. That's when, and then you got to get good at writing copy. You got to get good at, selling in print and, crafting offers and all this kind of thing. And, so that was a really sort of fun part of the journey. Still is, I suppose. But, that's kind of, and then there's nothing better once you've done that in your own business. There's nothing better than helping somebody else do that in their business as well, isn't it? Who's struggling and, ambitious, and they want to get on and they don't know what they're doing either.
Yeah, and there's so many lessons in that. I mean, everything you've been saying. I met Dan in 1994. I was privileged to have one of the earlier ones to have met him. And at the time, I bought his magnetic marketing that many of us have. And in there, he had coupons. And the coupons were, if you write something, if you create something, we'll review it. We'll do, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them, whatever it was. Well, it wasn't Dan that did it. It was a guy by the name of Rodney Tolson. Was a partner with Dan. And so I was on the phone call with Rodney, and I said, so what do you think? I think it was, I don't know if it was a postcard I had done. I don't remember what it was for. And he said, well, I'm not sure. He said, but what I can tell you, if you don't do anything, nothing will work. You got to put it out there, and then you got to test and analyze the results. So, I mean, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So, Dom, I know that you've got 5 keys to a premium. You told me it was a premium pet business, but I'm going to expand it. 5 keys to a premium any kind of business. Tell me what those 5 keys are.
Okay, so they are, number 1 is, unsurprisingly, be premium. Like I did when I started my business, there's a top and a middle and a bottom provider in every town. And if you look hard enough, there's a luxury and a bargain basement version as well. And just pitch yours at the top, just pitch it near the top or at the top. And you'll find that there's much less competition up there. It's like I said, it's slower to start with. None of your friends or your staff or your family even will kind of go along with your ideas for doing this. But ultimately, we know there's a place because there are expensive restaurants and hairdressers and lawyers and florists in every town. So why shouldn't there be a top price, whatever it is that you offer? In my case, doggy daycare, dog trainer, dog groomer. So yeah, just claim that mantle of being the premium provider, and make it your life's mission to do this. I've done it in my businesses. I've done this with everything since then. Like my books, my courses, my seminars, my in-person stuff, and it's just been the biggest game changer, really, in my entire business journey. Just embracing the idea that you should be premium.
Okay. Key number 2.
Key number 2 is to be specialized. So most people in most industries, certainly with the pet industry, they try to be generalists. They try to be everything to everybody. So they copy what everybody else is doing on their websites and on their service menus, and they offer every service to everybody. And anybody who's got a dog and they've got a wallet, they'll be a good client for me. And I recommend my guys specialize, niche down. So we have people who are specialist dog trainers. So they don't just train any dog, they only train spaniels. and they don't walk any dog. They only walk small dogs, or they only walk big dogs, or they only walk squashy-faced dogs, and we have people who have premium, specialized doggy daycares, so they specialize in helping people who maybe run their own businesses and stuff as well, so they've got to be more flexible, but people are prepared to pay a higher price because of that, and yeah, when you niche down, it just enables you to laser target your marketing a lot better, and you just, it's the easiest way to become like kind of an expert, which is key number three.
Okay, key number 3.
Yeah, key number 3, be the expert. Everybody's business, certainly in the pet industry, if someone's coming to me with a problem in their marketing, it's usually because they don't have enough business. There's too much competition. They're always worried about the competition. One of the most fantastic things about the pet industry is that it's virtually recession-proof. There's people spend more money on their pets and their pets' healthcare and their pets' food than they do on their own. But it's also got a really low barrier to entry. So because anybody can kind of pick up some dog leads and call themselves a dog walker, or go on a short course and call themselves a groomer, it's got a really low barrier to entry. So because of that, there's like a lot of competition, as there is in all industries, I know. And something I recommend people do is, which ties in, helps you to be premium, helps you to be specialized as well, as to be an expert, So be the expert, do expert enhancing marketing activity, do events, stand up and talk about your expertise, write a book, something I know you talk about a lot, put yourself out there, create some paper and ink marketing, create your own newsletter. After a book, your newsletter, I think, is the best marketing tool you'll ever have, because it instantly makes you look like somebody who is something special. If you're creating your own newsletter, you're going to be seen as an expert. It's fast to do. It demonstrates your expertise. It demonstrates your local connections that you will have with your audience as well. You can put testimonials in there. You can put offers in there. You can give hints and tips and advice to help people, which again is just going to further enhance your expert status. And be the expert. Nobody crawls to the bottom of the mountain to speak to the expert. We want to be positioning ourselves at the top.
Okay, let's focus on the newsletter for a minute, because that is so smart. I started this whole thing saying I'd gotten a copy of your newsletter, and I can't remember how many pages. Was it like 12 pages or something? It was long.
That's long. So that one is the one for my coaching clients. That's for my coaching clients. But I also have, I'll send you a bunch more stuff. We also have just a 4-page newsletter that we post out. I have a different newsletter that I have for my dog adventure client base, and this is something that I get my guys going with straight away. It's some kind of paper and ink aspect to the business, and the newsletter is such a fun thing to create. It's difficult for people who've never done it before, but it's a 4-page newsletter. It's better than 1,000 Facebook posts. It's like, I always say this about the book. I always say, even if somebody doesn't read your book, if they know that you've written one, it's like a good thing. It's like a really good thing. Similarly with the newsletter, if you give somebody a newsletter, even if they don't even read it, which they should do if it's packed with, infotaining information. But even if just handing them a newsletter, that's got your picture on the front and some, that's expert enhancing. Nobody else in your town is going to do that.
Yeah, and you're talking not an e-newsletter. You're talking printed in the mail, shipped to them with a live stamp newsletter.
100%, yeah. Or as well, distributed in, the pet shops and the vets and all these other complementary pet businesses in your town. That's where the JV aspect comes in. I've done some stuff with my local pet shop where I'll give him maybe half a page in the newsletter to promote some of his stuff. And then he'll also then distribute the newsletter for me. So we both, it's like a win-win. But yeah, live, paper and ink thing.
Wow. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, so key number 3 was to be the expert. Start with a book. Yeah, and you're right. Let's go back to book because, you know, me, I'm a big proponent of being a book. I think I just counted myself. I have 11 on Amazon now. 7 co-author, and I think the rest were solo author, and the rest were co-author. But tell me, what kind of books are you encouraging your pet business owners to write?
So it will usually be a book that will, be a bridge to whatever service it is that they're going to offer. So if they're a trainer, you know, then it wants to be like, well, I've just had a call with one of my clients, actually. She's a spaniel specialist. She was just a general dog trainer before she came into my world. Now she's a spaniel guru. And so she has her lead magnet and her website and her book that she's working on now. This is all written for spaniel owners. You know, it's all written to help people who are struggling with their spaniels. And spaniel owners have, you know, all dog owners have similar problems, but spaniel owners have some specific problems that bulldog owners won't have, you know. So she's going to be speaking to that one ideal client of hers about, you know, the 5 big problems that you might have, or the 3 ways to socialize your spaniel puppy, or something like that. Something that's going to be a real bridge to enable people to find out more about what she does, take them through that know, like, trust process, position her as an expert, and then hopefully lead them on to saying, well, you know, I've read this book, it was awesome. How can I work with this girl now?
Very smart. One thing you don't know is I am really, really big in using pets in any kind of marketing. And in 2010, 12 years ago, I hired a humor writer. I have a schnauzer. And so my schnauzer's name is Max. And this humor writer has been writing Max's blog every single month for 12 years. So one day I said to him, the writer's name is Danny. I said, you know, Danny, you've written a lot of these. I license the content to any marketer, you know, that wants to. We add them in newsletters. It becomes their most favorite part of the newsletter. They can hardly wait to get to the newsletters to be able to read the dog blog. It's not a cat. It's the dog blog. So anyway, I said to Danny one day, I said, you know, Danny, do me a favor. Pick out 52 of the favorite articles you wrote, and I'm going to put Max's book up on Amazon. So he did, and I did. And the book, if you go under my name, you'll see it. But the book is titled, I'm trying to reach over here, I think it's The Tales of a Dog Named Bax, I think is what I called it, something like that. Anyway, and so when you go to events, so we live in a community, and one time they had a big event, and Max's book had just come out, and so I took Max to that event with his book, and he had a book signing at the event. It was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Yeah. I've got it now. I've got it up on my screen. It looks beautiful. He's a real beauty. Yeah. No. So anyway, Max, and then Max's blog, his article, is in our local magazine, is syndicated in different places around the country, but I do offer it to people who are interested. I didn't know I was going to go down that trail, but anyway, for $20 a month, you can get the copy of Max's blog to add into your marketing. Anyway, so let's go to key number 4. Okay, key number 4, similar to tied in with key number 5, actually. Key number 4 is to be polarizing. So this is something that, again, I was kind of maybe doing a little bit in my own marketing before I knew what it was, but in a similar way to when you're an expert, when you're niche. So if you're a gun dog specialist, then people who have gun dogs will naturally find you and seek you out and want to work with you. When you're polarizing with your marketing and you have opinions and you have a spine and you communicate with people about things that you are passionate about and things that you don't like, things that you love, general topics, whatever's hot in your industry, this acts like a magnet for people who have similar opinions to you, who share your values. And similarly, it pushes away people who don't resonate, who your message doesn't resonate with. So when I started to talk about in my dog training books, when I started to talk about what I was passionate about and what I believed in when it comes to training a dog, I managed to pull towards me a bunch of people who felt the same way. And similarly, I pushed a lot of people away who my message didn't resonate with them. And so being polarizing in your marketing is not easy to do at the start. Some people find it way easier than others, but some people find it really difficult. They think you have to be professional, they think you have to be like boring and, carry the corporate line and all this kind of thing. But I've found by putting your personality into your marketing, by sharing your story, sharing stories ongoing with your audience, you really do kind of build a tribe, don't you, around you, of people who are loyal, who your message resonates with them. And these are the best people to work with. You're going to transform your business because it's not going to feel like work a lot of the time. You're going to be happy to work with these people. It's not easy, but it is necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, makes perfect sense. And so, number 5?
Number 5 is be inaccessible. So I talk about trying to kind of throw a cloak of exclusivity around your business so that dog owners are like begging to use you. And the way to do that, a lot of pet business owners, they make themselves too accessible. So they have on their website, it might say, call me, Facebook me, WhatsApp me, Snapchat me, all these different ways that you can get in contact with me all the time. And I understand when you're starting off your business, you do want to make it easy for people to get in touch. However, you don't want to make it too easy, because if you're putting the message out there that you are Mr. Accessible, it's just not a great way to kind of position your business, So you want to make yourself a bit more inaccessible. Maybe put some steps in the way of people getting in touch with you, making them fill in an application form, making them jump through a couple of hoops. And that way you get better people because they are going to be more keen on your service. It also enables you to slow down the process of bringing people into your world, so that when someone gets in touch with you and then they fill in an application form, well, you might book a call with them for 4 or 5 days' time. But in that time, you can get some marketing materials out in the post to them, like your copy of your book or your newsletter or whatever. And this is going to position you as an expert. So by the time you do get on the phone with them, they're going to know exactly who you are, what you're all about, your values, why you're such an expert, why they should be using your service. And so it makes price much less of an obstacle when you do get on the phone with them. So again, not an easy thing for a lot of people to do, especially newer businesses who are, quite understandably, maybe it's a bit more desperate to get new clients on board. But yeah, any kind of business really should be thinking about how can I slow down this flow of clients coming in a little bit so that I get better people who are more aligned with exactly what I'm doing, who are going to be a better fit for me. That's my top 5 keys.
So in other words, eat peanut butter and crackers for a while so that you can, get through those lean early years.
Yeah, Dom, it happens faster, doesn't it? It can happen quite fast still, but yeah.
I am looking at the clock, and we are out of time. I knew it would be. I knew it would be fabulous. I mean, all of the little notes that I've even personally taken, and hopefully those listening have been writing as fast as they can. Oftentimes at the end of a show, one of my guests will have something free that they're going to give to the listeners. So I always ask if there's something, Dom, that you want to give to those who are listening.
Absolutely. We've put together a little bundle of things, really. So if you go to petbusinessmarketing.com/free book, you can get a copy of my Ultimate Pet Business Plan. That's the audio version of that. And also we've bundled together a bunch of different resources, a premium pricing masterclass, a number of other different things as well we bundle together, all tie in with what I talked about on the call today, the 5 keys, really. Some of them are audio bonuses, some of them are video bonuses. There's a webinar in there as well. Yeah, a little sort of pet business booster bundle, really, free for your guys.
Wow, that's very generous. I'm going to certainly go there. You can always, this didn't come with Dan, it actually came with W. Clement Stone. Small hinges move big doors. Remember that
absolutely,
quote?
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
So even though I've been doing this for a long time, I've been writing myself. So, Dom, thank you so much for being on today's show. And thank you for that generous offer of the free book and all of those other resources.
No problem. Thanks so much for being so generous. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Until next time, this is Nina Hershberger. And go out and change things in your business today.
Thank you for listening to MegaBucks Radio with Nina Hershberger. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or to listen to past episodes, visit megabucksradio.com.